what is up, guys? Welcome back to Channel 4. Another reaction. We're going back in time to a place where I first got introduced to heavy and rock music, ladies and gentlemen. We're going back to one of my bands that I grew up listening to. We're going back to a time for me personally, back into early middle school or early high school days where I just liked this kind of music. We're starting to get introduced to this sort of music sort of thing. So we're going back and taking a look at Shinedown, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't heard these guys in years, probably since then. I would say it's been a long time, over a decade or so, since I checked these guys out yet again. But from what I remember, they were like one of my favorite ones to go back to, one of my favorite bands, at least categorized in like the hard rock scene, you know, similar to like, you know, 3 Days Grace, you know, Breaking Benjamin, that sort of thing, when I used to get in started when I wasn't really into heavy music yet. But from what I remember, you know, I like these guys a little bit more. They were kind of like one of my favorite when it came to this sort of sound, I would say. But like I said, I haven't heard these guys since then, you know, since I was smaller than when I am now. You know, I haven't gotten back on my way to check out these guys at all. I would say there's been a lot of bands I used to listen to from back then and just kind of fell off a lot late and just fell. But this does get me excited, though. This does get me, you know, amped up to go back and check out all these bands I used to listen to and used to love listening to. So this does give me some more inspiration, you know, to maybe go back and check out all these bands that I haven't heard or listened to in quite some time, let me just say. But they just dropped a newly released single, ladies and gentlemen. They've been announcing some stuff too. I think they're going to go on tour fairly soon, which is a pretty, you know, big tour, I would say, as well, with some, you know, supporting bands. So what better time now to go back and check these guys out when they're bringing out some new stuff. If I like it, I have to go back and check out some of their most recent stuff that I probably definitely have missed from over the past decade or so. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe button, appreciate it, and to really help me out. And if you like Shinedown as well, be sure to like on this video as well. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. Check out some awesome music. Let's just get started on these heavy bangers, ladies and gentlemen. And also very quickly, I want to make a very quick announcement for those of you that don't know. I just released my very first original track over on my channel. If you're a fan of the more hardcore metalcore side of things with deep sounding breakdowns and deep tones, you guys would definitely be a fan of this one. And if you guys do end up liking it, there's going to be plenty more coming your way in the near future, so be sure to stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. It's Shinedown's newest release track titled Young Again. Like I said, man, it's been years since I've heard these guys, so they could sound the same, they could be drastically different. I have no idea, but just gonna have to wait and see. Okay.
Lost in suburbia, we were two barrel to tame.
There's that iconic voice I remember, though.
Without a penny to our name.
That's right, I've always loved his voice.
We were off the grid, just being kids.
Maybe that's why I liked him so much.
And nothing was serious, and life was mysterious. And I thought that you and I would never die, and there'd always be a castle to defend. And when we let it go, we didn't know that we'd never be this young again.
Okay. A lot more alternative sounding, I would say.
Surfing the blacktop, mixtapes of punk rock, and
A little bit more poppy.
battlefields. We stayed out past curfew, planning our next move, just to see how it feels. And no more the storm in the bottle rocket war.
No sudden pitch change.
And you and I would never die, and there'd always be a castle to defend. And when we let it go, we didn't know that we'd never be this young again. And we spent our last nights under the streetlights with our friends. And we made a stand in Neverland, and didn't know we'd never be this young again.
Ooh, here we go. Alternative riff down. Antioch. I'm not gonna lie though, it is very different from what I remember from back in the day. Go, Jumpman. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Very different. Very different from what I remember. Interesting video though. Definitely see like the nostalgic factor. You know, maybe they're singing back to when like when it was the good old days when they were younger and just like, you know, having fun, being free, living their childhood as one would expect, I would say. But okay, very interesting track though. Very interesting track. Like I said, I remember them being a lot more, not really heavier, but more on like the, you know, the Breaking Benjamin side of things, you know, just has that, you know, heaviness to them, but also does those clean, you know, choruses, does those clean verses, you know, sort of thing. But this one was a lot more alternative sounding than what I remember. You know, this one's a lot more poppy influence, a lot more modern take on that sort of genre as well. I could definitely see this one being played in like, you know, in like a background of like a commercial or something, or like, you know, an introduction to like something else, I would say. So it's a very safe sounding track, I would say, you know, but my memory isn't as good as it used to be, so I kind of don't remember these guys too much. But like, you know, from the most iconic tracks, you know, from that I used to listen to, I could definitely remember, you know, when that comes on, I said, okay, that's what I remember from these guys. But this one's very different. But the reason why I kind of like these guys so much compared to, you know, like 3 Days Grace, I would say, you know, because they definitely have like the sort of similar tone, similar sound and vein, I would say. But I really like these guys a little bit more. It's just because of the guy's voice. You know, it's very iconic. It's a very, you know, southern, you know, hard rock staple type of tone that he has to his voice. I don't know. I just kind of like gravitated towards that more. I just like the way he kind of like said his words. He like portrayed his singing voice, I would say. I kind of like that a lot more from back in the day. But you know, he definitely still sounds the same, not gonna lie. He still has that, you know, iconic voice to him, but this one's just very different. It's very, you know, surprising to me, I would say. I definitely was not expecting, you know, that sort of, you know, tone, that sort of, you know, vibe, that sort of energy, I would say. But my drum man was getting it. He was adding those, you know, those quick little fills in there. He was banging it up. He was smashing it a little bit in there, so he was getting into it. But other than that, they had a sort of like a little alternative hard rocky sort of, you know, riff down action in the middle section of the song there. I don't really remember them too much of having, you know, harder hitting breakdown sort of thing. I don't think they normally really did that. But like I said, very modern alternative sound with the overdriven guitars, with the, you know, the weird distortion that you can put on those type of tracks. But it has been a long time since I checked these guys out. But let me know what you guys think, if they changed dramatically over the past decade or so, or if this is like their newer sort of stuff they're doing now. Be sure to let me know down in the comments, because I definitely do like their old sound, and definitely which made me love these guys, you know, from back in the day, which was that hard rocky type of tone to it. But let me know what you guys think. Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and if they are coming out with some new stuff, be sure to let me know. But if they are coming out with some more new stuff, I have to check that out as well, amongst all these other bands that have been coming out with new stuff lately. But be sure to hit that subscribe button, especially new here, because going through every single band challenge, you only want to miss out on a single one. Guarantee that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.